Welcome to the Steak Knife Show. I'm Tim Schindel.
And I'm Sean Foster.
And he is an old lady.
I'm a Russian babushka.
I'm cold.
I'm sure once I drink a little bit more coffee,
Yeah.
I'll get up.
So, yeah, we have nothing to talk about. This is a podcast about nothing.
This is, yeah. Again, I knew we'd run the well dry. Like we can only show and do the same thing, and then it's really just gonna. Again, that's why the dumpster dialogues have such a better name, because like when you and Cheney run out of shit to talk about, you guys just share your weird feelings, and everybody wants to hear it because you're the most interesting men in the world.
That's absolutely not true. I don't know that we're that interesting at all.
You and Cheney?
Yeah.
Having known both of you, I've known you way less than Cheney, but like just the stories that are there and the amount of alcohol it's going to take to unlock them. Like, oh, do I say this with him getting married in a few weeks? Nope, we don't. We're going to move right on.
And so we taught a group yesterday.
Yes, we did.
So like of the varied mix of like people that we taught, like it's always interesting to me seeing like you have like several people that like with a true depth of experience, some of them trained
lots of years,
like just doing like a public service job. I'm not saying lots of years training, because I would say total they probably have less years than a lot of people who just go to a gym. Like I'm talking like a fight gym. I'm not talking like go to lift weights. Like I'm talking
because they both still lift weights. They both still take moderate care. They're older gentlemen that take care of themselves. But one, I believe, wrestled in high school.
And you can tell.
There's
some physicality there. Yeah.
And the other one did more traditional martial arts, but was a heavy street fighter.
Yeah.
You could tell, like and one of the things that I always found interesting, and I think I told you yesterday, but it's hilarious. One of the trainees who's brand new did not understand. So, like, something we do for safety and something we're doing to try to reinvent the wheel, right? Closed fist strikes, while like depicted in movies, is great. It's a really good way, especially if you use tools or you don't train it, to break your hand. So we teach. Plus, an attention grab. Just think like how many times you've heard somebody get hit, or you see somebody eat punches in like a cage fight, versus like an open hand slap to just about anywhere. Think about like a good slap that you've seen or felt or heard, and like imagine that like 5, 6, 7 times, right? The pain registration is different, and you get a reaction. Yep. There's a reason that that's being slapped, like it's something I say. It's one of those mottos that, like I say, like first couple slaps, like 1 or 2, like, oh, like I ain't no bitch, right? Slap 4, 5, 6, they turn into a bitch very quickly. They'll start to move, they'll start to block, they start to respect it, they start to do things they normally wouldn't do because the pain receptors are different. I tell that story. One of our veterans, the street fighter, traditional martial artist, we make them wear boxing mitts, like what you would traditionally use to like
hit
catch.
Mitts, like they're the hitting pads.
Yeah, with the dot in the middle, focus mitts, right?
Yeah, they're focus mitts. Wow.
The street fighter figured out very quickly that the edges of those are super sharp and super hard.
Yep.
And he started teeing off on one of our new guys who has no fight experience but was going too hard. He'd warned him a couple times. He stopped the drill and like was trying to explain like what the drill was, and like the kid just wasn't getting it. So
lesson learned.
That kid got mollywopped by the hard edge of a focus mitt for like 2 minutes. Yeah. And like even I went over and was like, hey man, this is why this is happening. You should do this. And like that's a strange thing. That's also something like the veterans, you and I said something maybe twice.
Yep.
And we had to repeat it because they're trying to fix bad habits.
Yes. The
new kids, we said the same thing for 4 hours, and it never landed because they're so lost in the fight. They're not listening. It's like you can almost see their blood pumping through their ears. That's roaring so loud that they can't. Like there's no registration happening. It's just noise.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I might as well have been speaking a different language.
I think some of that is youth, obviously. What I mean by that is like willful ignorance of youth. Yeah. Like, I know what I'm doing.
I can do this.
I've
tough.
done this. I've been in a couple scuffles now.
You think so? You think they have?
I'm just saying I think they think that they've been in a couple scuffles now.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is they're ramping up their body.
For the first time ever?
For the first time. They may have been in situations where there was tension or some fear, but like not tension, fear, and violence, like all mixed together, because that is a much different thing. We come to a theme. This is how we work. We start talking, and then we come to a theme. So you brought up slaps.
Okay.
Do you think largely for anyone in uniform or anyone getting in a fight, period, I don't even care what setting it is, do you think most of them should switch to slapping to protect their hands?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
spin it up there, fucking Hawkeye. Let's fucking hear it.
It's Hero Day at the girls' school, so and if you don't know, like, I like Hawkeye, so I have a Hawkeye shirt on. Like, I'm pretty proud of this. I usually only wear stuff like this to boxing and never matching.
Yes,
but,
this is so much
Super
more
X,
entertaining.
I'm a semi-pro athlete, and I pay your ridiculous prices and wait your ridiculous amounts of time for this stuff. Can you just hit me with something? I mean, people call it ambassadors, but like, give me something in between ambassador and like sponsored, right?
A bastard.
Yes. So slaps.
My work here's done.
I just read that. What is the CSI Miami? Yeah.
He won't be going to that party anytime soon. All right. So
slaps.
Yeah.
You gotta think, like, first off, in my martial arts thing, like, I'm not a very good striker. I would say at best like an intermediate. Now, that being said, I am like a little bit more experimental. So like, to just give you, like, when I started, I was very fat. I was 235, and I was like, we're gonna tank in and we're gonna fight to the Muay Thai clinch where I can use my judo, right? And then I started getting flash KO'd because I don't have power and I wasn't good at striking. So then I switched to true Muay Thai, like lots of leg kicks, and really trying to be smart about how I got to the clinch. But I still kept like falling.
Right.
Like, I'd get flash KO'd. And my fights are on YouTube. You can see me get, like, one dude hit me so hard it looked like Simple Jack afterwards. I was like, did I win the fight? And they're like, oh, you did, but you got rocked, son. And like, hit me so hard my hair like split down the middle, and I legitimately looked like Simple Jack and sounded like it. Like, my words were slurred. It's terrible. So like, I just remembered it was after my third cage fight, my first cage fight for Ronin. I fought a dude who was supposed to be 4-6.
Yeah.
He was Pakistani, and when you look up his Pakistan fighting record, he had like 106 fights. And his fighting style officially was rugby. And that dude slung leather. He flash KO'd me twice with the same sequence. And I remember I went back to the drawing board, and I was kind of just watching stuff, and I wasn't doing well. Like, I just wasn't, like, and I realized, like, man, like, this is going to get dangerous.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, that's when I still, like, heavily watched MMA. And Dominic Cruz was exploding with his, I think it's called Neo footwork now, but Dominic Cruz's, like, boxing style came out, and BJJ Scout did a couple studies on it, and I watched those religiously, and started like mimicking the patterns. I took jumping rope really seriously and tried to like do different fight patterns with the jumping rope because I saw Dominic Cruz do it, and then I realized during that training camp, if I got comfortable switching sides, most people fight orthodox, but most judo players fight southpaw. Yeah. And I could hide my judo steps with boxing. And my fourth cage fight, I went out, and we came out the same way I always had, touch gloves. And this dude was a machine. And I switched stances and threw a really good combo. And he drops his hands, and he goes... and he looks at his corner, and then I run him into the corner and hit a judo sweep and just beat him to death. And I think it was like my fastest stoppage ever. And I just kind of felt like I really figured it out. And again, it goes back to like I still have pillow fists. In that fight, I still broke my hand because I was still throwing closed punches, right? Even that one was a bad one. I threw a hammer fist, and then I came back through, and I caught his elbow, and like it like internally ripped my thumb. And it was really, really bad. I think every picture you see me, like I'm smiling, but I'm holding my thumb in place. Yeah. And so like I started to really I was like, okay, so this is working well, and this is working well. So maybe if I don't throw so hard, right?
Yeah.
And then I kind of stopped wrapping my hands at practice because it was messing with my grips for grappling. Like makes it like if you wrapped your hands, they're stiff, right? And so you can't get as good of a grip, right? So I stopped wrapping my hands in practice, and I was like, well, like, and then Nate Diaz started slapping people, and I was like, well, I'll give that a shot. And then
like, wait a minute, I can slap a motherfucker.
Yeah. And then it just kind of like started blending in from there. And then anymore, my hands are open. Whether boxing gloves, MMA gloves, like my hands are completely open, and it just builds into like if I hit you for realsies, it's a great slap. If it's something light, I can parry, or I can go off into like a clinch of some kind or a grapple, like whatever it is. And so you really gotta. And again, I'm a big proponent of like you gotta find styles, like you gotta find things that from different styles and like make your own thing. That's the true meaning of MMA, at least in my book. Like I don't want to. You shouldn't be out there like I want to go out there and fight like Chuck Liddell. Are you gonna go to wrestling and hit 100 sprawls?
Right.
And then go like figure out a way to plant your feet super wide and swing leather, like. And then when he started getting caught, like there was no adapting, right? So one of the best adapters ever, Randy Couture.
Yeah.
But like he just found different ways to refine, and he was such a tactician. Like, how do I get it to the cage? How do I get it into my wheelhouse? Beating people that, like, honestly, like when he beat, I think it was Gabriel Gonzaga. I was like, how? How did you do that? Like,
like you said, he adapted.
Yeah, well,
he never stopped evolving.
His battle IQ like never dulled. Like he didn't sell his soul to one thing. I mean, he did, but like he found a way. Like he found different ways to make it work. When you're gonna live by the sword, die by the sword, like swing for knockouts. Like somebody's gonna be faster, somebody's gonna be crisper, somebody's gonna be cleaner. Like you saw it with Anderson Silva, you saw it with Muhammad Ali. Who's the new style bender? I like him a lot, but like he's been on a little bit of a losing streak. Like all the strikers fall, and for me it was never about that, right? MMA, like to truly beat somebody, I think like you make them give up.
Yeah.
Please don't break my arm. Please don't choke me to sleep. Please don't break my leg. Right. I am giving up. You have beaten me. Is much more satisfying for me. Than knocking someone out. And even more so than pulling. Like I think you can articulate it more when a referee stops a fight because you can't intelligently defend yourself. Like about the 40-second hammer fist where I'm staring at the referee, like you should probably stop this.
He's dying. Are you going to jump in front of this hammer fist? Pick one.
That's probably a close second, like referee stoppage, because like you just aren't doing something intelligent. You can't find a way out, but the spirit in you won't die.
You're just like basically anytime I get hit, that's how I look. I'm like,
I felt like we've really worked on your striking, and I don't know what to do for you. I think you need a different instructor.
It just takes me a while and stuff. It's like my grappling. Like there's still like holes, but those holes keep getting tighter and tighter.
Your grappling,
intentional.
You don't bite. Like you still treat it like an exploratory role. And like I'm like we're having fun. Like okay, like we can have fun and be a little bit more violent. Like you can throw a threat out at some point. Or I'm hoping that you do, instead of just surviving.
But also, you're that much better than me, so.
So I've trained you not to fight back. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying with people closer to my skill level, there is bite.
Why aren't you doing it against like the sharpest blade using your bullshit knife maker?
Because most of it is just defending. Because the higher belts make my defense better, and you know that's true.
Did I answer your question? Yes. As a law enforcement agent, don't break your hands. Don't throw closed fists. If you're gonna throw a closed fist, like throw a hammer fist, like the fat of your hand, like, and don't do what I did and like rake it across and break your thumb.
I would say, arguably, it would be easier to articulate a slap. There's this misconception, and maybe I shouldn't even say it, like, but there is a misconception that like, oh, was it a closed fist or an open hand? Like what?
There is.
People act like if I get hit once, it's dead. If it's a closed fist, but I got slapped and I'm okay.
It's almost worse. And that was proven. That was proven on MythBusters.
Yeah,
slaps are way worse,
significantly worse
than punches, but both pain reception and the internal damage it does.
I mean, look at the UFC's slap fighting league.
Yep.
Holy shit!
You have
that's
people's faces
terrifying.
collapsing.
Yeah.
Like, you have people who, like, have ruptured their eardrum and now, like, they're permanently, like, walking in a vertigo state. Like, it's a strange thing that, but again, it comes down to articulation, and sometimes it's what you can make sound good in court. And I will never forget, I was sitting there, my partner had struck a person, they wanted to file a suit. We go in there, the judge looks at my partner and says, "Did you strike Mr. So-and-so in the face?" My partner looks at that judge dead in the face. He said, "I slapped the shit out of him. And he deserved it." And judge says, "All right, it was just a slap." He said, "Sounds like you're a bitch." Dismissed. I was there. My partner slapped that dude, and he fell to the earth and crushed his face on the concrete. Like, I was just like, And I had thought he had done the old, like, Marine, like, Judy chop.
Judy chop,
like,
yeah.
No, that was a slap and, like, took that dude out. So, like, I should have put it together then. But, again, young ignorance, like, oh, why didn't you? I would have, like, pieced him up. Like, didn't know enough at the time.
Yeah.
Like,
That slaps hurt.
and then you got to think, you also have, like, all the myths. So the big thing that, like, we always touch on, and you and Cheney touch on, these movie myths, right? You see Steven Seagal punching a Wakazari. What's the wooden thing with the rope? My buddy will know about it. Calhoun will tell me. But, like, the Wakazari or something, whatever. It's a karate thing. It's a piece of wood, and it's got rope at the top, and you punch it.
Oh,
and
yeah,
every
hands and
every
all that
Steven
stuff.
Seagal one, he punches it until it breaks. Like, okay.
No, you didn't.
Bro, like, maybe. I mean, I've seen people kick like Captain America, like, heavy bags. Like, that happened at Ronin a few times. Some guys who get back from Thailand. Granted, it's the end of that bag's life. It's holding on by a thread, but that's the kick that did it. Like,
It breaks through.
But yeah, slaps are. It's kind of like jujitsu. Like, everybody's like, oh, like, even the kid yesterday who got handled in training with jujitsu was like, yeah, I'm gonna go train boxing. Like, really? We go to boxing? You think that your small frame, like, you're lighter than I am, you're skinny, you can't see well without your glasses on, and you're gonna go train boxing and think that's gonna save you when the first thing that's gonna break is your glasses, so now you can't see. And you're not gonna strangle this person. You're gonna somehow generate enough force to knock a person out.
Right. I had a.
Conor McGregor does it.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor also cuts from, like, 170 to 135.
Right.
Like,
He's a pro fighter.
yeah.
He also knows how to grapple.
He's a brown belt, isn't he?
I think so. I don't know.
I mean, he's okay.
Yeah,
I
but
would
what I'm
love to
saying-
roll with him. Like,
Yeah, I'd be interested. I was talking to one of the coaches at Endeavor. She's on the strength and conditioning side now. She's never done any combat sports, and she's PT, so she's a physical therapist. I don't think you know who she is,
don't.
but
I should know more people at Endeavor. I go to enough of your parties.
So
I know your face. What up?
she was talking about, like, I was like, have you ever thought about doing combat sports? She's done some hybrid stuff. I said, hybrid's a great place to start. I said, here's the thing, though. I was like, you are not, like, your strikes are never going to knock, like, I mean, you could knock somebody out, but, like, the potential for, like, you're talking about, to generate enough power to get somebody knocked out. I said, you would truly win if you learned how to grapple. Like, you're dangerous. I was like, and she knows Amy. And I was like, take you and Amy. I said, you're roughly, like, you're a similar size, like, height-wise. Like, I was like, she is an elite grappler. Like, at her age, her weight. I was like, if somebody grabs onto her, they've made a dire mistake unless they are significantly more trained than her. And she was like, oh. And I was like, just kind of, like, broke down why. I was like, you can use your size to your advantage, your limb length and leverage to, like, off balance this person and get away. Or pin them to the ground and be done with them and choke them out. Like,
That was something, actually, one of my former C-State students shared a final project recently that was, I think it was done, like 7 years ago, whatever.
yeah.
Miranda shared Whiplash's video, and, like, I forgot how many ladies came through that one, and like, by the end of it, like, they were going to competitions and doing okay. Like, they weren't winning, but, like, they were defending themselves well.
Yeah.
Like, we really were doing something special there. But to see these ladies come in, and it was always funny. Like, we'd have The girls would come in, and then without fail, like a couple dudes would follow them in and be like, I only want to roll with girls. Sorry, bud. You got to roll with Coach Jay or Coach Foster. And if you get lucky, you might get to roll with Coach Dev. Like, maybe. And, like, just by the end of it, like, those dudes never stayed. The girls did, and they were horrific. Like, I remember, I need to go back and find it. We have Mirandas and we have Whiplashes. And both of them, I think Whiplash put me in turtle, and I was wearing a red man suit, and I kept trying to single leg, and she like basically did a handstand on my turtle and kneed me in the side of the head to get away, because like our final test was like, I'm in a red man suit, and I'm gonna try to drag you to the ground and hold you down, and there's no time limit. You have to run out the door, right?
Yeah. You have to get out or leave. Yeah.
And that was hers, and then Miranda is something very similar. Like she used the same kind of escapes, which was always interesting. Like when it comes down to like the nitty gritty fundamentals work, and then she straight up did like a slide step and soccer kicked my face off, like almost broke the mask on the red man suit, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like, oh my God, can you imagine being the bad guy that didn't know you chose the wrong one? But it was all grappling. Like they did great strikes, they would strike and then talk. They never lost themselves in the fight. Meanwhile, we couldn't get the police to show up. They'd always call off sick or like not show up or not take it seriously, or I'd just grab my gun. No matter how many times we showed them, like, you can't do that.
How it works. And
again, it's something I've heard for a long time, but it never really sits well with me. Like, that's like a 1% chance. Like most officers never even break the leather of their holster. I also hate how officers find a need to like law enforcement. We find this weird need to like say it's cliche, or it's not cliche. It's very just on brand. Like to have somebody who you know is a coward be like, oh, I don't think I'll ever have to break leather on my holster. What a dumb saying. Like, you mean you'll never have to draw your weapon? Is that what you're trying to make drawing your weapon? Drawing your weapon sounds cool enough. Like, you don't need to add a cool little cowboy saying to it. Like, you're not cops and robbers. You sit in your cruiser and you watch YouTube.
You get heavier and weaker.
Or you're just sitting there. You're sitting there like counting the minutes until you get to like go home, say hi to your kids, and then go to CrossFit or lifting weights.
Whoa, that's a lot.
There's a couple officers I know that like really like try to keep themselves in shape, right? But like I'm trying. I mean, like I get it. Like, and everybody's a little different. And I'm not saying all cops are that way. There's a lot of cops that I respect.
Not now. Like, there is a big sea change. Like a lot of the people. You pee yourself?
No, it's all sticky on the bottom. Pause.
There is a big, significant sea change in that area of like training is becoming like more of like seen as the correct way. Like it is adopted in like the lifestyle. Not all, but it's like a higher percentage than it used to be in the last several years. And that's like Chad Lyman, like stuff like that. Like dudes like that are driving it. Like,
yeah, they drive it, and thank God that you do. Like you're doing good work.
Yeah.
But like it also like I will always wonder like, this happened because of George Floyd, or this happened because this one, and like it just can't be ignored anymore. And that's what I think really upsets me with like the pushback that we get is like this is the way we've always done it. Yeah, until the news does a shitty article about us, and now we're way past the 8 ball. We lost that game. We're hoping they'll let us re-rack it, and like we roll out this new thing that we've been trying to sell for a while. And it's one of those things that
I do find it interesting.
Irks me.
We've opened it up now to where the people that we work with can now sign up for more than one of our things, and we have people doing it. We have people who arguably are honest about where they're at. And they're like, I don't have anything, and they're coming.
Yeah, but
they're
again,
coming back, like which is
for. I mean, we pay them, and like you get off the mandation list and stuff like that. But like they're essentially signing up and trying to treat it like an open mat, so they get more reps, they can ask more questions, things like that. But also, there's a lot of sayers like I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But the ones who are doing it are the old vets, the ones who have enough. Like I don't need to check on this one because he's got it. He's coming back to learn more. Meanwhile, you got the new guys who are like, I'm going to go to boxing. I'm going to go to title boxing. Not join one of the jiu-jitsu gyms that you guys offered to take me to, or come like roll for free at Kimura Trap House with us, like. And what's even more interesting to me is like, as like we've implemented some of our newer things like the gift wrap and stuff like that, and crisscross applesauce. It's not our officers who are meeting me for training; it's PCAs and nurses who are coming and training. They're like, "Oh man, I really want to help out." Like that looks like that's like I feel like I won't get in trouble if I do those techniques. And I'm like, I don't know what the legality of that is, but like, you should definitely know how to defend yourself when you're getting kicked in the face by an irate patient. Like, so I don't know.
It goes back to, I think, a video we made a while ago. It's up to you to protect yourself. Like it's on to you. No organization, no matter what you work for, is going to stand up and give you consistent training.
No,
they're just not.
Even law enforcement agencies don't.
Yeah, no.
In fact, they usually say
usually the first thing that goes.
It's not just the first thing that goes. They usually worry that it'll
make the officers more aggressive.
I've heard that, but the like when you get down to like the brass tacks of it and you cut through like all the PC bullshit and like they're just going to give you their final no. We can't risk them getting injured in training. We'd rather they get injured on the road. Like, because if that might not happen, the probability of them getting into a serious incident might not happen. So, like, they'll work longer.
Based on a probability.
Yeah. And it is probability. Like, that dumb saying I brought up, like, most officers, thankfully, hopefully still, don't ever have to draw their gun in the line of duty. Doesn't mean that I don't want them highly trained if it ever comes up. Like...
Yeah, the thing, it should be like, so let's put math to reality. What I mean by that is,
you already lost me. I failed all 4 years of math.
This is math you'll understand.
You say so.
So we worked with somebody who was an elite college athlete. I asked them how often they practiced. Obviously, we know, like, you play one game a weekend usually during the season, right? Yeah. I asked them how much they practiced leading into a game. Answer, at a minimum, just practicing skills for a game and plays 6 hours a day. That was on top of strength and conditioning. So those people are highly scrutinized, right? Their movements are. They have the plethora of Monday morning quarterbacks, announcers, former pros, their coaches, assistant coaches, teammates, parents,
Facebook warriors.
Anybody and everybody who is interested in an elite collegiate sport telling them they did something wrong. And then you're saying behind that, you've put in that much work. Now, let's take this into the policing world. Most agencies train 8 hours a year.
One day.
If they're even lucky to get that. And then
most of them shoot
once a year, because that's the requirement of the locale. I think there's a couple agencies, a couple states like California that will have a much higher bar. Like I know LAPD is some of the best shooters in the world. Whatever. Okay, so those are like your outliers, right? So you're saying you strap a camera to somebody and expect them to perform at this elite level when you've trained them what would be the equivalent of one day for any other elite sport. While it's not a sport, that's not what I'm saying. They are doing something much more complex.
It's infinitely more complex because, like,
here's why. Here's where this is lost on people. You're walking into a situation. I'm looking at you. I may know that you may have committed a crime, and I'm looking at you going, okay, what are they doing? I have to make a decision. I have to read their body language. I have to know how to talk to them and not completely overblow it or undersell it. Like, this is what I'm here for. So I'm a psychologist, a law enforcement officer. Like, I'm analyzing you. And then let's say I do get into a fight. How do I appropriately escalate this situation? Do I just pull my gun?
I was going to jump in here before we go physical, right? I definitely committed the crime. Right. Make no mistake. As sure as the sun is rising, I did this crime, right?
Yeah.
And you start your babble, and you're like, hey, man, I really need to talk to you, need to detain you, right? And I say, where in your law code you show it to me?
Yep.
You prove to me the law that you have a right to detain me, right? Yep. So now I've completely flipped it on top of the fact that you're trying to, like, make sure you check all these boxes.
Yep. got to be nice on the camera.
You're actively, like, you're being wittily challenged verbally, and now you have to try to verbally dominate this person, hoping you don't have to go hands-on and put me in handcuffs. By the way, you've had 2 cups of coffee and half a donut. Meanwhile, me, like, I probably slept well into the day, very rested. Maybe I street fight or I played a sport a little bit more than you.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
And I don't think you got it in you.
Yep.
And so it's terrifying.
But don't worry, those 8 hours a year, hopefully, if that.
But
that may be even stretching it.
Police Academy is 6 months. You can go to police. I went to police academy for 6 months, and then they gave me a gun and let me walk around.
And yet again, we're saying
laws.
The continued training, hopefully, because some agencies don't even do 8 hours a year on top of the academy of continuing education for hands-on skills. The most perishable thing you can do.
Next to shooting, but like
shooting and hands-on.
You know what? I definitely got my 8 hours of training in that was sometimes applied as my training for the year.
What?
FERPA for school, being a school cop.
Yeah.
And then use of force continuums and how to articulate it and how it affects the law. Not the actual hands-on skills. How to make the law work for me. I had a legal class on it, which is great. Like, I needed the education, but like
Let me guess, there were 0 scenarios in that class that tied it to reality.
Yeah, it was a lot of slides and talking at me while I took notes, and then I had to take a test at the end.
Of course. So think about that. So we started at slaps, and you want to talk about a slap in the face? That would be it right there. What he just described. I've never been a cop, but I run in a similar circle, and this is like one of my passions is training people in uniform. So think about that. You have athletes and it's not taking away from entertainment. It is an amazing athletics is an amazing thing to add to your life, and don't get me wrong. But you have these athletes who get funded, they get all this stuff because it's entertaining and people want to do it, and they train for 6 hours every day leading into 1 game a week.
Yeah, but those athletes are also getting dividends on it, right? You might be a podunk cop, and you have to wrestle the same goat off the highway. Having done that,
yeah.
Like
what I'm saying though is like then you're like, why don't these police officers perform at this high level?
That goes back to TV movie myths.
I know it does because they think, oh, you went to an academy. Yeah, but the academy doesn't continue. Like those things don't continue. Like,
and then you go in and you're usually like, hey, here's your 5 days of work a week. By the way, in order to make ends meet and your new baby or your new wedding or whatever, you have to work all this overtime on top of the fact that a lot of days you get mandated and you can't leave and your emergency services. And so like you miss Christmases, you miss Thanksgivings, you miss birthdays, you miss first games, final games, you miss graduations, you miss your kid breaks their arm and you can't go because there's nobody else to push a cruiser.
Yep.
Like it's a wild thing. And unfortunately, like a lot of people end up becoming cops because they don't have anything else to do. Like they
don't know what else to do.
They don't know what else to do, and like it sounds interesting. And I'm not saying like everybody does it.
Yeah.
Like there's some cops who like you have like you've said the blue chip academy is like you go and you get a degree, you try and do it a right way, but like your degree isn't like you're in a college classroom learning from a professor that like this is how psychology works, and then you have to be smart enough to apply that in the moment to a fast talking like snake oil salesman who definitely did that crime or has information that you need.
I think one of the funniest, speaking of like that, like at Force Science, there's a guy who does like he's a part-time instructor there, but he's also he did a psychological study and he put himself through the police academy. He said, "Hey, I'm doing this study, and me and my like research partner want to go through the academy," and they're like, "Okay." Like, so he went through with like a bigger apartment.
But when I went through academy, somebody was on his 17th attempt through because he couldn't convince anybody to grandfather him in because his uncle was a detective who was killed in the line of duty, and he wanted to solve the murder.
Interesting.
Also, obese, overweight,
yeah,
$5,000 in academy on his 17th time through.
So this dude went through the academy, and one of the local chiefs was like, "Hey, we want you. Would you be willing to be a cop?" And he's like, "I'm a full-time professor, and like I have like patients and stuff." And he's like, "Not full-time." He's like, "I want you
Volunteer.
as a reserve." He's like, "Because I want you on my force to help my guys, like
Make our job better.
like craft conversations, like help them navigate some of these like more complex situations. Like, but to do that, I know that you have to go out." And he said the first time he went on a DV call, there's this idea that there's like you've come in and like you've rescued the woman, right, from the man, right? Like and it's not always that way. It's like sometimes you've rescued the man from the woman, but thinking like, oh, we did this great thing, we stopped the violence, and we had to use violence to stop him from hurting her. And he's like, then the woman came out and started to attack us. He's like, I went back and told like people that I work with professionally, like in my other job, this happened. And he's like, they're like, that's not what happened. And they're like, that psychologically doesn't make any sense. And he's like, yeah, it happened. He's like, myth shattered. Like, he's like, I was there. The rubber met the road. So it's like you have these like,
and then you have armchair guys
right,
who can't believe it. They can't wrap.
Yeah,
their
he said
head
there's
around
still
it.
people that he knows that don't believe it. Like who don't wrap their head around that that's like a real thing that happens.
Well, so like and there's like all these like hot button topics like toxic love and stuff like that. Like DVs usually are like, and it's a tale as old as time. These two people can't stand each other. Nobody else wants them. That chick desperately needs, and I'm being general here. Like it could be the other way around. That chick definitely needs that piece of shit to go to work and get a paycheck so she can continue her bad habits or his bad habits, and like just the comfort. Sometimes like, what's the quote when you weren't fed love from a spoon, you'll lick it off knives.
I've never heard that, but that's wild.
It's good, bud. I can't believe I didn't write that. Like, it's a
great one. Yeah.
Like. It's just such a like people accept the love that they deserve, right? Or they think they deserve. And so like domestic violence, dude, I'll never forget. Like, you remember those push doors that separated dining rooms and kitchens?
Yeah.
I got my ass whooped. I got wedged in the door, and I'm trying to get a hold of mom in the kitchen, who's beating me with a skillet, and she's trying to reach over me and beat in her daughter's head, who's hitting me in the back of the head with an iron. And my partner's holding the front door open like, bud, you look like you're getting whooped. I'm like, spray us all. I don't care. Stop this. Like, help.
Yeah.
God. What was that dude's name? He was our IT guy. He was only a deputy because he was the only one who could fix the computers. It was some weird name like Doug or something. If you're still alive, I'm still mad at you.
So that's one of those things. Like there's those knowledge gaps, but there's I'm completely lost train of thought. This is what happens.
Knowledge gaps. Like we're psychology,
like
rubber meets
like
road.
Rubber meets road, but like expecting those things to be like
out of an officer.
Yeah, like you're having an officer who doesn't experience these things, but maybe like once a week, if that.
Well,
like so in smaller departments, that may be like.
So we're talking. So we're talking about
just talking to people is.
You're talking about police officers.
Yeah.
Who get an academy. Hospital security, where you're working in a medical field with psych patients. There's not an academy. You have an on-board week.
You get on-the-job training.
Yeah, you have an on-board week where we try to scare you away with some body cam footage, and if you're like, I can handle it. You don't know. We had a dude who made it all the way through training, and then his first day off, he got into a real he didn't even get into it. He watched it, turned his shit in the next day. Like,
yeah.
Even though we had all prepped him, like I had a hand in his training. Like we said, hey man, like this is like you haven't seen anything yet. Like
it's coming.
It's here. Like, and it happens very frequently at a hospital. Although I feel like with our training that we've rolled out, they're much more infrequent. I hear much less like horror stories, and I hear much more the gift wrap really worked. Or I've been stopped by a few officers on other shifts who are like, hey man, I did that thing and it worked great. And I'm like, oh my God, we're doing something. Like,
tell somebody higher than me.
Yeah,
cool.
I need you to write an email and attach everyone. Like,
but those kind of things, like where like we do come into contact with more violence, even lower level violence, which I think is hard to understand. Like, this is where people get lost. Lower level violence is usually what law enforcement gets in trouble for, because it's harder to explain. a lot of the time.
The ones that I see are and again, it's like first off, like I love cameras, but I don't ever want, if you're going to release it, I want the whole thing, because like what I always see is somebody's cuffed and like all of a sudden they're like motorcycle tripped or slammed on the ground, right? And while that's never okay, being fair to the officer, I want to see that whole call and what led to did that officer just like, and like, again, like once somebody's cuffed, like nothing should really happen to this person. Like, I'm just going to be real. Like, once they're in handcuffs,
unless they have a weapon that you didn't find or like something extreme.
If they're handcuffed behind their back, I will be hard pressed to be convinced that some kind of physical violence needs to happen.
But here's the thing. Don't put yourself in that corner, because it has happened.
Right.
There are outlier situations.
And not saying that I couldn't be swayed, right? Like, what if they have like a switch or a grenade or like something?
Don't become an armchair quarterback.
I'm not armchair quarterback. I'm trying to say like, I'm trying not to. I'm trying to like, so like the one I just recently saw, this dude is walking this cop is walking this woman. She's handcuffed behind her back, and all of a sudden he rips her to the ground.
Yeah.
And she smashes her face on the concrete. And I have no idea what the backfire of that, like how hard he had to fight her to get in there, how many times she spit on him, what she's saying to him. And then like if you're going to be ultra generous and be like, how many other bad calls did he have that day? What's happening at home? Is his wife cheating on him or his husband? Whatever. Like, but like, and that's kind of like the way of the universe. Like, dude, I will never forget, like, my buddy was going through a horrific divorce.
Yeah.
Came into work, and our first call was a domestic violence divorce. Oof. And I was like, are you good?
Yeah.
Do you need to hold perimeter? He's like, no, I got it. He definitely didn't. Like, I had to be like, hey, bud, why don't you go to the cruiser and just go away?
Go away.
Like,
like go get a sandwich somewhere. Bye.
But again, and that's the other like thing that people expect, because as cliche as it is for officers to constantly be like I hold myself to a higher standard. A lot of us don't. A lot of us don't hold ourselves to a higher standard. But on the flip side of that, you're held to a higher expectation by just everyone. The myths of TV and movies.
Everyone. It's everyone in the same profession, or other departments look at what you do, or civilians look at what you do, and they're like, oh my God. Like,
it goes back to what we said a few weeks ago, where like there's nothing, like you don't have a stomach drop, like when you walk into one of your boss's offices and they're like, I can see why you did this, but, and you're like, ooh,
but there's a big but.
There's a but. And you're just like, what's the
yeah,
that's not a good feeling. That's a horrific feeling. And
it is.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't know that there's a way to fix it. Like, I've seen like the civilian reviews, and then I've seen like reviewed by your peers. And then I've seen, like, I don't really know how to improve the standard. And my answer is always more training, more hands-on, realistic, rubber meets the road training. And that's the other thing, like,
with good feedback.
Yeah, don't be scared of the criticism.
There has to be a feedback loop, and it's not like dire, you just did everything wrong. It's like genuine feedback, and that comes back to having like good coaches, good instructors, like whatever. Some people get real tied up on like what you call the person who's teaching you. Whoever's teaching you, if they're actually teaching you and giving you appropriate feedback that you can understand and take back and like actually like start to like modify, then that person's okay no matter what they're called.
Yeah, coach.
Like coach, instructor,
coach,
flippity blah blah blah. Like, it doesn't matter. Just that person needs to be able to give you appropriate feedback to tie back into reality.
And if you're gonna wear a uniform, you should really understand that like you should be attempting to learn from everyone.
Yeah.
Like, new kid off the block, old dude, like,
everybody has something, even if they're not the greatest.
And it goes back to like, it depends. Like,
yeah, it depends.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, you can learn something from everybody.
Nobody. Here's another thing. This is really hard for people to understand, and I don't like it. Sometimes it's okay to have. Not okay, but it's a part of learning to have people that you're like, why are you here? Like, why are you here? And it's because you have to learn the why are you here from that person. And then you go, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the example of what not to be?
Yeah. You're the example of what not to be. But
But on
I'm
the
not
flip
saying
side,
even the
that
what-
person always
yeah.
finds their way in front of a camera, like, and makes
Like
us
this.
look bad,
But no, like,
like a shit magnet.
but yeah, like there are sometimes you're like, what are you doing here?
Every profession has it, but I had that
does.
when I went to Chipotle the other day.
Yeah.
Like
Why
I
are
don't know how
you
many times
here?
I have to ask a person, like, "Hey, can I have like a full scoop of rice?" Like, you're gonna charge me
No.
$11. Can I have $11
Did you get
worth
the
of rice?
full. Did you
She
get
just
like
walked away. Like, I was like, all right.
I'm confronted. Okay.
I just asked for a full scoop of rice. That's literally all I
So,
want.
slaps are good. Get out there and train. No, like just go out there and train.
I don't
Go out
know
there
what
and train.
this.
You're
I don't know what
responsible
this
for your
episode
safety.
was.
This episode is what every episode is, a rambling, open dialogue of whatever we want to talk about. And that's how this works. And if you like it, tell us. If you don't, tell us.
Stay whimsical. Stay combative. Come train with us.
Bye.
Bye.